Good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of Indian Chamber of Commerce, I welcome you all to today's e-conference on opportunities in processing, freezing, and exporting of value-added products for seafood industries. We are very happy that the Union Secretary, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan, sir, is with us today. We have with us Mr. K.S. Srinivas, Chairman, MPEDA. We have with us Dr. K. Gopal, Principal Secretary, Department of Animal Husbandry, Fisheries and Dairying, Government of Tamil Nadu. We have with us today Mr. Elias Seth, Secretary General, Seafood Exporters Association of India, Mr. Rajoshi Banerjee, President, Seafood Exporters Association of India, West Bengal. We have with us Mr. P. Sudhir Kumar, Director, Marketing, Freak India Limited. Mr. Rajesh Patil, Director, Cruxen Technologies Private Limited. He is also one of the panelists. We have as a panelist Mr. Parvez Ahmed Khan, Managing Partner, SA Exports, and our Dr. Rajiv Singh, Director General, Indian Chamber of Commerce. May I request our Director General, Dr. Rajiv Singh, to start the program with his welcome address, sir.
Good afternoon, all. First of all, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Rajiv Ranjan for sparing his valuable time to be with us. A warm welcome to all our esteemed speakers and the panelists, which include Dr. K. Gopal, Mr. K. Srinivas, Mr. Elias Seth, Rajeshri Banerjee, Mr. P. Sudhir Kumar, Mr. Parvez Ahmed Khan, and Mr. Rajesh Patil. So first of all, I would like to say that, since this panel includes everybody from the sector, the fisheries sector in India has made rapid strides in the recent years, and its importance is increasing every year in food supply, generating jobs, and also raising the nutritional levels. So the group definitely understands the importance of the sector. The fish production in India has also increased rapidly over last 5 years. And let me highlight the scheme which has been launched, which is known as PMMSY, Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which aims to enhance the fish production to 220 lakh metric tons by 2024 and 25. The scheme also includes the insurance coverage for fishing vessels that is being introduced for the first time. If you talk about the exports, I think US, China, Japan, Southeast Asia, these have been the major markets, and Indian exports have also been rising. But the PMMSY scheme aims at doubling the export earnings to almost 100,000 crores during the scheme period, and also supporting 55 lakh direct and indirect employment through the scheme. In terms of like how do we achieve this growth, if we talk about the fish farmers, I think they need support in terms of registration, completing the documentation part. There is also a need to look at how the subsidy is sanctioned, the procedures, and how it reaches the farmers, including the awareness about the quality standards and the use of antibiotics among the farmers, which sometimes become a big barrier in terms of exports. Here, I would like to also emphasize the role of private sector in terms of improving the cold chains, packaging, developing value-added products, uh, and the private sector is definitely keen to play a bigger role in this space. For all of us, I think it's important to look at the technology adoption, innovation, and looking at the solutions on packaging, marketing, reaching out the global markets, and overall looking at the value chains. Today, we have this very eminent panel with us who will share their views, and we have practically everybody from the space, right from the policymakers at the highest level, and also MPEDA, which plays a very important role in terms of exports, and the presence of state governments, the exporters, the private sector players. So I think this is a very good panel, and I also see the number of participants which have been rising every minute, and as of now we have 406, 405 participants who have already logged in. So this only shows the level of interest and also the potential the sector has uh, to create an impact on the Indian economy, and also to add value in terms of exports. And also, it also goes in line with the Atmanirbhar Bharat and Vocal for Local uh, schemes, which the Honorable Prime Minister has given a clarion call to all of us. With these words, I would like to again warmly welcome all our esteemed guests and the panelists. Thank you so much. Madhuparna, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Now time has come for our chief guest, today's chief guest, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan, Secretary, Department of Fisheries, Government of India. Sir actually has another meeting at 3:30, so he has to leave. So that's why sir will speak first. So I would request Dr. Rajiv Ranjan, sir, to start your deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity for me to address the Indian Chamber of Commerce organized e-conference on opportunities in processing, freezing, and exporting of value-added products for seafood industries. I'm happy that it has. I'm just trying to get the screen share. So while I am getting the presentation on, let me also say that it has a very good participation, and we have seen the numbers crossing 400. We have representation from all sectors. I have my good friend Dr. K. Gopal, Principal Secretary from Tamil Nadu, Mr. Srinivas, Chairman of the Marine Product Exports Development Authority. We have Mr. Seth, the Secretary General of the Seafood Export Association. And we have also representatives from various firms who are stakeholders in the process of improving the fishery sector. So let me quickly, as was mentioned, that I have another meeting. In fact, it's an important meeting. The Prime Minister is addressing the bankers today, and I have to be joining that meeting because we need to understand that a lot of credit flow to the economy in general and the fishery sector in particular, we have to ensure. That's how the private sector growth would also get catalyzed, and the share of their participation in terms of more investments would also be realized. So that is why I'm making the presentation first. I would not have an opportunity to, maybe I'll be there so for some more time till I have to switch off. So that's why I have to make the presentation first. I will just rush you through some of the points. Some are general, but let me begin by saying that the Indian fishery sector is a sunrise sector now, and it is doing well for the last 5 years. That the data I'm giving now, if you see, the average annual growth rate of fishery sector has been almost touching 11%, 10.88% to be exact. And the average annual growth rate of fish production has been 7.53% in the last 5 years. And the average annual growth rate of the exports in value terms is almost 10%, 9.71%. And India is the second largest aquaculture producer and the fourth largest seafood exporter. And we have a 7.73% of global share of fish production in the country. All this is important because recognizing all that, the government of India thought it fit to have an independent Department of Fisheries in February 2019 and a new ministry in June 2019. And our contribution to the national GVA is 1.24% from the fishery sector and 7.28% of the agriculture GVA. So this is one of the most dynamic sectors of the Indian agriculture and allied sector. And that is why if you see the production, now in the year, the last official data is 18-19, for which 13.75 million tons, and currently it will be 150 lakh tons of fish production, which is a record. And the exports, which was 6.8 billion US dollars in 18-19. And we have Mr. Srinivas who would go into details and he will give you the exact numbers. But we have just heard from Dr. Rajiv saying that we are looking at a target of 1 lakh crores of exports in the next 5 years. So ultimately, because fish is a very affordable annual source of protein, nutrition, income, and livelihood, and because of that, we need to ensure that the sector keeps on growing even better. So with that objective in mind, there has been a very important development, which is the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. This is a comprehensive scheme which was announced in the budget, and now in May, it was approved by the cabinet, and now we have started implementing the scheme. In fact, it's a record that we could implement the scheme so fast. It is part of the Atmanirbhar package. So it is the most important, I would say, in the present scheme of things post-COVID or during that time, these are the Atmanirbhar package schemes which are given the highest level of priority and the importance by the government. So Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, which is a 20,050 crore investment package, is a very important scheme, and it has the objectives of harnessing the fisheries potential in sustainable, responsible, inclusive, and equitable manner. Now, I will just try to cover a little bit of all this but essentially it will increase the production and productivity much more through expansion, that is in both horizontal expansion of more area, intensification vertically, diversification into other areas, and productive utilization of land and water. It will also modernize and strengthen the value chain, both the post-harvest management and quality improvement, and double the fishers and fish farmers' income. In fact, generation of employment, we are looking at 55 lakhs. This is a big number. Enhancing contribution to agriculture GDP and robust fisheries management and regulatory support will come through it. So as I was saying, the total investment is of the order of 20,050 crores, of which the centrally sponsored scheme is 18,330 crores, and there is a central sector component of 1720 crores. The central sector contribution will be 7,687 crores, in addition to the 1720 crores, and the state sector will be 4,880 crores, and private beneficiary share will be 5,763 crores. In the next 5 years, we'll be implementing the scheme. And if you look at the key strategies, in fact, I would first say that what are the outcomes? The outcomes are, as I mentioned, 220 lakh tons of fish production, which is quite a large increase. but at the same time, it should be sustainable. And that's why we are targeting a 9% growth. Having grown at 7.5%, it's not difficult. So it is very much well within the target. Because if you look at it in the last 5 years, we have invested from the central side about 3,000 crores only. So this is much more of our order. So we expect that to catalyze even more, activity from the private sector. The average aquaculture productivity has to increase from 3.3 ton per hectare to 5 tons. Exports to increase to 1 lakh crores. Post-harvest losses. Now that is one important issue because almost 25% loss is there, which we have to reduce to 10%. Employment generation, I mentioned 55 lakhs or so. Domestic per fish consumption. This is again an important thing. I mean, if you look at it, when you are from West Bengal, the fish consumption is high there. Per capita is also high. But if you look at many other parts of the country, it is not as high. And that is why the domestic per capita in the whole country is only 5 to 6 kgs. We need to improve it, at least double it to 12 kgs, because it will be important for the protein and nutritional requirement. And it's affordable. That's the main key. It's affordable. And we need to, still it will be only half of the world average of 20-21 kg per annum per person. So this is one thing which we need to do. What are the key strategies we are going to follow? One is ultimately the quality seed is very important. Quality feed is also important. For the seed, quality brood and seed, national network of brood bank and hatcheries. Then we are wanting to do a cluster-based approach. So aqua parks are there. Area-wise, we'll look at it where there's a potential. Strong institutional framework. First time, we are looking at the institutional framework because we don't have a presence in every district. So we need to understand where there's a potential and we'll cover that. Gap filling approach is required. Wherever there is a gap in the infrastructure, gap in the sense of where the productive investment will yield a much more disproportionate return, we'll look at those. Focus on fisheries development in islands, north, east states, Himalayan states, aspirational districts, convergence with other center schemes. There are about 10 odd schemes of the Government of India, which we need to converge with this. I'll not go into detail, but with all that, the outcome will be much more. Encourage the private sector through various models, entrepreneurship model, PPP models, end-to-end solutions, integrated projects, integrated coastal villages, focus on fishery exports. That is why this particular seminar that we are now looking at exports per se. So, but I wanted to give you an idea of what we are doing. So that's why I'll cover a little bit of the PMSY. Collectivization is important. So more
Dr. Ranjan, could you please make it full screen so that
okay,
the slideshow or the full screen?
Yeah, is it fine?
Thank you. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you.
Okay, fine. So the species diversification is important, and self-reliance in shrimp brood stocks are again important, which the chairman MPEDA was discussing with me just before we started this seminar. So like that, we have a lot of strategies. Now, what are the characteristics of the fisheries value chain? This I just thought to look at it because it requires much more focused attention and technological and financial support at each node through the value chain. So we have to understand there's a complex chain, and it is a network of labor and production systems, and that is what we need to understand. It is one of the fastest perishable commodity fish, and that is why the investments have to be much more in terms of cold chain. The complexity in handling is there. Multiple players are there at different layers. So at each level, we have to look at it, strengthen it, and see where the gaps are. And that's why I said the entire value chain, this is what we are doing in PMSY. In terms of seafood industry value addition, we need to say that what is that extra feature? What is it that goes beyond the standard expectation and provides something more? So we need to look at that is value addition. We need to keep stressing value addition. And value addition is important because there's a declining natural fish stocks. And in India, we have a lack of inadequate we have processing technology, we have to do much more than that. Poor infrastructure through value chain, there's a huge wastage. So that is why we need to look at various strategies for food processing and ensure that the loss of fish during all stages of processing is reduced to the maximum, and generating income from the sector, providing employment and to the rural communities is important. If you look at global fish utilization, now we are looking at a total of 179 million tons, and of the trade which is happening. And in fact, if you look at it, the total first sale value is estimated at 401 billion US dollars. Now, this is just an idea that the whole, if you look at it overall, the global utilization, if you look at it, mostly you see 56% of the fish that the global population consumes has undergone some sort of value addition. But that is not so in India. So fish, frozen fish dominates in the global, and in India, we still have much more fresh consumption, which is good. But we also need to look at more of value addition coming up. That is the point that I wanted to make here. In terms of the global trade of fishery products, if you see how the growth has taken place, it is one of the most traded food commodities in the world, the fish and fishery products. So it's very important. And 11% of the export value of agriculture products, excluding the forest products globally, is fish. In India, we have 18% of the agriculture produce exports is accounted by fish. And if you see the peak, overall growth of global fisheries trade from 76 to 18, it has peaked from 7.8 billion to 164. And this is what we need to look at it further. In terms of, you see, again, there has been huge, exports in terms of developing countries accounting for it. So role of developing countries is very important. And they are more than half of the global seafood trade is contributed by them. And majority of this, if you look at it, are processed in the industrialized countries. So we are, as exporting countries, the developing countries in particular, are not extracting the full benefits through the seafood trade. So that is the message that we need to take and see that value addition becomes important. So if you look at it in India, again, it has grown quite heavy. In the last 10 years, you see huge growths have taken place. It is 7 billion to 15 billion. We have to now work on that by 2024. For which we need to diversify the export basket, other destinations of high value and value added products. We have to look at institutional mechanisms for pursuing market access, tackling barriers to trade. Sanitary and phytosanitary barriers are there. We need to understand it and work on it. So basically, if you look at it presently, frozen shrimp exports form 42% share in quantity and 69% in value. So this one domination by one species, Vanamai, is what we need to also ensure that we have a diversification strategy, and we should not put all our eggs in one basket. We need to very, very quickly look at strategies for species diversification and product diversification. If you look at capture and culture share, then if you look at it in culture, we have 31% quantity and value is 54%, and in the capture, it is 68% quantity and value is 45%. Now, in terms of value-added seafood products like fillet, IQF, block, frozen, processed, ready to eat, these are the higher end of the chain. At the lower end, we also can look at converting processing waste into food and non-food products like fish meal, fish oil, chitin and chitosan, etc. So what is it that we can do? A value-added sea product can be any form. They can be multiple forms, shapes, dimension. They could be innovative products like potato shrimp, vacuum cooked shrimp. It could be a new package. It could be a new cut. So varieties, we have to look at varieties. Ready-to-eat product can be a fish cracker, fish curry. So all these things in functional foods, fortified with calcium, beta-carotene, vitamins. This is how it is. It is easily available in many of the Southeast Asian countries, all the countries that we go abroad and see. But India, we need to work more on it. This is where I would like this particular occasion to say that as an industry, we need to grow the market and create more awareness for fish as a healthy food. This can happen like in the question of when you look at eggs, they did it as an industry, and that's why very catchy slogans came, and look at how poultry industry has developed so big. So it is required that we also should, whenever I address the industry bodies, I want to make a mention that we need to now look at, it should be industry driven, the government is fully behind it, but we need to work on the strategy of expanding the market and opportunities for value addition through fish byproduct industries. For example, this is again an area where a lot of things can be done. Somewhat it is happening in fish meal, fine. In fish oil, for example, we can do much more. Fish protein concentrate is something which we need to do because it is easily affordable, and we can get into this in a big way. And that is what we need to keep working on. Similarly, this chitin, one of the, we can look at what can be done in terms of wide application in biomedical sector is there as natural healthcare product for cholesterol, obesity, coagulating agent. So we can work much more. We started with Matsya first time, the Kerala cooperative body in 88, 89. There's a huge potential in global market, but in India, it is not yet explored. Similarly, fish oil. Now, in India, fish oil industry is dependent on Indian oil sardine for body oil and mainly produced as byproduct in fish meal plants. But we can do more because the omega-3 fatty acids, the PUFA, is useful for heart ailment, and it is a big demand. And even vegetarians would look at this as a nutritional supplement. So that is how we need to understand that the benefits of healthy thing is be important. So we need to do that. Similarly, the present trends and opportunities. Present trends and opportunities in global seafood value-added product trade is also, we need to look at what are the consumer preferences which have changed. The Western influence has caught on. So that is why there's a more acceptability of seafood now, and urban consumers. They are growing fond for the seafood consumers, seafood consumption, those who have traveled. So there are a lot of new things which are happening. The consumer preference trends are changing. So we need to capitalize on that. At the same time, there is growing concern over quality control standards. Their traceability issues are there. So people now require high quality and safe food. They also want to find out where it is coming because of sustainability issue. So there's an extensive third-party audit requirements which are coming in when we sell it to companies like Costco and all that. So these are all new things that we should be aware of and plan it accordingly. Domestic trends, we look at it, it has been, in India, the domestic market traditionally has been showing high affinity for live and fresh fish. That is very good. But at the same time, we need to look at how the value-added markets can be developed. And increasing volume of middle-aged income groups and migration of employed youth and families to cities is opening up large markets. We need to look at it. In terms of export markets, we need to again look at it. If you look at from 50s, we were only looking at dried products in limited quantities. Only from late 60s and all that, we got some frozen items. And then from last 10 years is where we have seen a major increase, where we have become the fourth major exporter of fish and fishery products and the highest exporter of shrimp in the world. So this is what we need to do. Now, because frozen shrimp accounts for 2/3 of Indian seafood basket, that is why we need to diversify. So to summarize, the investment opportunities in fisheries value chain are immense. We are looking at, in PMSY, for example, we are looking at investments of 2,400 crores, almost $320 million in markets and marketing cold chain infrastructure. This we have to look at at all three levels. At value addition, we have to improve products, processes, and supply chain and marketing. Value realization in terms of reducing the quantitative and qualitative losses, and value creation in terms by way of certification, traceability, blockchain. So we are now encouraging a lot of infrastructure addition, innovation, startups, incubators. In fact, this morning I spent 2 hours in interacting with a startup which is very innovative ideas of growing the market. And so I'm very encouraged by the fact that large number of entrepreneurs are coming in and they're realizing the commercial opportunities that are available in the sector. So if you look at, I just wanted to list out, we are now having some huge investments lined up in Sagarmala for fishing harbor and landing centers. We have about 8,000 crores if you add Sagarmala and FIDF itself. Brood and seed, 2,200 crores. Deep sea fishing, 1,600 crores. Brackish water aquaculture, 1,470 crores. Seaweed cultivation, which is a big area that we are trying to open up, 640 crores. In fact, ornamental fisheries, where Calcutta, is West Bengal plays an important role. We are going to, because we feel that size is almost more than 20 US billion dollars, and we are very small. So these are new areas. I mean, obviously it will take time to come to global standards, but these are low hanging fruits. We can go much more. Cage cultivation, we are going to take up both in marine, the sea and the reservoirs in freshwater. So put together, we have almost 1,200 crores lined up for that. Traceability, 100 crores dedication. Branding, about 100 crores we have put in. So all these things will add up to huge investments coming up. Now, traceability I was mentioning is very important, and we are looking at 100% compulsory accreditation of hatcheries as quickly as possible, within a year is possible. And these are the drivers of marine exports, eliminating IU fishing in IOTC, the Indian Ocean Tuna Commission, and many other multilateral and other forums. These issues are coming up. So we need to keep talking about traceability, catch to consumer, catch certification, geotagging. Sustainability is a very important item, because then again, marine mammal protection and the responsible sourcing, all these issues are coming up. So we are looking at resource convergence with states, union territories, private sector with MPEDA, and use the IT tools for end-to-end traceability, the blockchain technology. Training and capacity building is very important. We are going to spend 100 crores for training more than 1.5 lakh people directly. International certification, brand development, and MoPEDA and NFDB are doing certification and logo that should become mandatory to give us, like the other sectors have done. We have to also follow suit and ultimately incentivize farmers for traceability and get them interested in good agriculture practices. This is very important for exporters. The top end already are into it, but we need to see that the middle ground, that the smaller ones also get into this. So I will just, now I'll quickly in the few slides, try to talk about the export sector strategy. So here, the Department of Fisheries and the MPEDA, and along with EIC and with Department of Commerce, are interested in ensuring that we have a clear strategy of doubling exports. And we have a lot of issues which we need to tackle. The broad issues are there. I will not go too much into it. Non-tariff barriers, we know, phytosanitary measures, market access issues. So all these things, we need to keep looking at it. So ultimately what is required is more collectivization, species diversification. We have to look at tilapia, scampi, that is the freshwater shrimps, mud crab, fungaceous. We have to do through area expansion. We can look at new areas. There are areas of, inland areas where a lot of saline and brackish water is there. We can take it up. Then technology infusion and improve productivity. New markets, deepening, aggressive promotion. All these, what we are now looking at, more productivity, improve. So there are required interventions, both at policy levels, greater roles for the states, clusters formation, value added, branding India. So strong quality control regime is required, more research and development is required. in production and processing. And we are doing it through various ways. Leasing policy becomes important. So we need to ensure that zonation of aquaculture areas, promotion of BAP and GAP, that is more certification. And I will not list out because I'm sure the speakers following me will cover all these things in great detail. So I will, but the nucleus brooding, breeding farms, and we have to look at potential domestic candidate species for more specific species diversification, robust quarantine and laboratory network. And we have looked at 4 focus on species like tilapia, pangasius, sea bass, and mud crab. And these have to be done through more reservoir cage cultivation. New RAS is the circulatory aquaculture system, biofloc. So variety of ways that we can look at. And through the existing scheme of FIDF, which is the, in fact, here I must say that the FIDF is an existing scheme. Last 2 years, we are looking at it. It's a scheme where the private sector is also eligible, and we are getting private sector applicants. I'll encourage those of you who are listening to utilize the FIDF scheme. That is the infrastructure development scheme in the fisheries sector and aquaculture sector, and that's the interest subvention scheme. So you should ensure that if you are interested, you should apply through that. It's a 7,500 crore corpus, and we have sanctioned almost 3,200 crores worth of schemes. So balance 4,000 crores we still have to sanction. So PMSY, as I said, gave you a glimpse of what it is going to do, and we are going to delegation authority to states for issuing permission. So all that is ease of doing business we are working at, both at the short term, at the long term. We are looking at how to do import of brood and seed with liberal import policy, so that at least we can quickly ramp up the production. Long term also, we have to look at private sector should take up genetic improvement programs for gift tilapia and etc. Transfer of technology, ICR institutions. So all these things are in the works. I'd just like to summarize by saying that we are doing huge investments, unprecedented investments in the fishery sector. We had never put in so many funds earlier. As I mentioned, we are looking at $9 billion US investments in the next 5 years. And to explain that, I had mentioned that the center is going to put in 5.5 billion and the state will put in 3.3 billion. And this, if you look at it, the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, that will put in, as I mentioned, over 20,000 crores. The Fisheries Infrastructure Fund, which is an ongoing scheme for the last 2 years, that is 7,522 crores, almost $1 billion. And there is a World Bank scheme for strengthening fisheries value chain. We are finalizing that. In fact, tomorrow we have yesterday we had a detailed discussion, and tomorrow we are having again another sitting with the World Bank to finalize the contours of it. So this all put together, we can see a huge investments coming up from the government sector. Now, what is very important for an audience that I'm addressing now is that the past trend shows substantive private sector contribution to fisheries. And we expect that to grow even more because of the supportive and facilitative government policies. So like the shrimp sector has shown that it has grown to a 4 billion, over 30,000 crore exports coming up. And it's a shining example of synergy between the private sector and the public sector. So that is what we expect now, the entire fishery sector, especially the export part of it, to grow much more. And that is what I would like to say, that this is something which we can work forward to. And if you look at it in the next 5 years, we are looking at a lot of investments have been tied up, and through these schemes that I mentioned. So more of quality seed and feed, brood banks and hatcheries, area expansion to almost 1 lakh hectares, enhancing productivity, creation of aqua clusters, traceability standards, entrepreneurship models. This is very important because we like to encourage more and more entrepreneurs come in. Incentivizing farmers for GAP and BAPs, aquaculture disease prevention, control and surveillance. It's important because this, especially in COVID and otherwise also, now there's a huge requirement that we look at disease control and prevention. and we are working towards that. Hygienic handling of fish, modern harbors and landing center, modern deep sea fishing vessels, all that is part of the program that we have. Now here the role of MPEDA comes in very big for international brand promotion, exploring new markets, deepening existing markets, export, logistics support. So now I'm happy that Chairman MoFPI is here to address all of you. And my colleague from Tamil Nadu, Dr. Gopal, will also tell you how progressive states have done so well. And in fact, wanted to share a bit of good news that the early in the PMSY scheme, we have already, processed on a fast track mode the packages, that is the projects which have been given by the states, and Tamil Nadu is one of them for sanction, and that shows that within less than 2 months of the program being announced, we are already having detailed guidelines in place. We are already on the verge of sanctioning the schemes, because having sent to the internal finance wing, we'll expect that to happen in a couple of days. So you see, this is what it's important that in Atmanirbhar Bharat, it's important that everybody understands the importance of this. So we need to work together to ensure that we look at the doubling of the export. So this is my last slide. And as I said, I have to go for the other meeting. This only is like a way to how we can look at, almost 14 billion US dollar exports in 2024. So we are looking at the breakup in terms of how much we can do through shrimps and prawns, through fish, crustaceans and molluscs. So we need to work on these areas. We can't be dependent on only Pacific white shrimp, as we call the Vanamai, but we have to again look at our black tiger prawn. We have to look at scampi, the freshwater prawn, the other fish varieties, new species like sea bass and tilapia, and value-added product, which I kept saying, which is the main theme of today. We need to look at least $1 billion, if not more, on the value-added products, both in fish and shrimp value addition, ornamental fish and seaweed also. These are two areas where I'm sure my colleague Dr. Gopal from Tamil Nadu will talk about it. We have very ambitious targets of taking up these two. Honorable Prime Minister, in fact, has been talking about the seaweed, and in fact, in one of the meetings just 2 weeks back, he was mentioning about the ornamental fish potential also. So I'm just saying that at the Government of India level, at the highest level, there is a recognition and support for the fishery sector, which is a sunrise sector and is doing well. So we need to ensure that more and more entrepreneurs, more and more stakeholders come forward and make the sector grow more. So with these words, let me thank the Indian Chamber of Commerce for giving me this opportunity. Much as I would have liked to stay on for the full 1.5 hours until the program gets over, as I said, that there is a meeting being taken by the Prime Minister, so which is for reviving of the Indian economy, especially with the banking sector. So I'll be here for some more time, and then I will go on for the other one. So thank you so much. Over to the, yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your detailed presentation. So now I would request Mr. Srinivas of Chairman MPEDA to address us.
Yeah, thank you. Are you able to see this presentation?
Yeah, crystal clear. Please go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Sir,
yeah, I am putting it in the
ICC.
Hello.
Yeah, please open the PPT in the background.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Raju Singh, for giving this opportunity. And after the comprehensive and detailed presentation from Secretary Saab, I don't think there is any more presentations are required. But still, I thought I will share from my point of view some slides. Mine is a very small presentation, maybe around 10 slides only. So then after that, maybe I'll be there for discussion also. Yeah. So coming to the production side, we have two sources of production. One is this capture, other one is the culture. Capture, we have almost, this is capture means almost, this is marine, and culture is inland. And marine, we have more or less, it is stabilized. It's around 30 lakh tons. So it's 34.9 in 1819 and just about 36 previous year. So I don't think there is any scope for further reduction, for further increase. It is almost reached a saturation levels, and the only scope is to increase the inland. As you see from this diagram, it has started from 46 in 2008-9. Now it is almost 100 now. So this is the production is increasing. Fish production is increasing in India only in the inland, and inland it also includes aquaculture. So here this table gives the quantity exported from India. In the last year, it was about 9 lakh tons from capture and about 4.7 from the culture. Total is about 13.92 metric tons. And the share is from the capture it is 26%, and from the culture is less than 5%. So total is about 10% of our production is being exported, and this is a graphical representation. So then coming to the export scenario, as Secretary Saab has mentioned, we are the 4th largest exporter of marine products, and here I listed out all the countries here. The China is #1 with almost $25 billion. Norway is 12.1, Vietnam is 7.7, and closely India is there in the 4th position. And we have a market share of 0.35% currently. And world seafood trade is increasing. It is growing at a CAGR of 4% every year. And this representation, this graph, it shows how the exports have increased. It's about $2 billion in 2008-9. Now it has reached almost 7 in 17-18, and there is some decline last year and this year also. This year, you know, COVID is the culprit, and last year there was some reduction due to other market forces. This is the scenario as far as the exports are concerned. And again, exports, we have two sources. Culture is quantity is just 35%, but value is 53, because mostly culture means the shrimps are there. Shrimps are very expensive compared to the fishes. That is why the fish percentage is just about 46%. And these are the major species contributing to the exports. We have the shrimps, and this is L. vanami. This is the most important thing. And then we also have black tiger and other things. Fish, coming to fish, we have the ribbon fish, croakers, tuna, pomfrets, and cephalopods. These squids and cuttlefishes are there, and others like lobsters, crabs, and clams. And coming to the item-wise share, as I mentioned already, shrimp is the most important item. That is almost 69%. It takes the larger chunk of the exports. And next is frozen fish. Coming to the markets, we have the US market is the #1 here. This is US market, followed by Southeast Asia and European Union and China. These are the important markets for us. And since this seminar is on value-added products, I want to spend 2-3 slides on the value-added products alone, because other things are anyway going on without any problem. But value-added products is our concern now. So the demand for value-added products is increasing globally. And when I say value-added products, if you look at the HS codes 1604 in chapter 1604 and chapter 1605, These are the products coming under these two chapters, 16th chapter, 4 and 5. These are the value-added products as per the definition. And here also, if you look at the graph, from 2009, there is a steady increase of these value-added products from India. And you look at this slide, we have all the countries, important countries which are exporting value-added products. Thailand is number one in the world with 66% of their exports in the value-added form. And next is China, about 38%. Indonesia is 25%. Ecuador is again 25%. But India is just 6.2% of our exports are in the value-added form. Remaining 90%, 94% are all in the raw material form. That is a problem, and we have to increase this percentage of value-added exports from the current 6 to at least to 12% in the next 5 to 10 years. That is the idea. Then exports also has increased on exports under the chapter 16. If you look at this, 4 or 5 years back, it was just about 144 million USD. Now it has reached 428 US million D in 2018-19. So there is a growth of 190, almost 200% growth in the last 5 years. And we have so many plants in the country. So we are very proud that more than 600 plants are available in the country. They are all doing processing. And out of this 618, 343 are EU certified. I mean, these 343 plants, they have the license to supply to European Union, because European Union standards are very stringent. And if any factory has to get the eligibility, then they have to comply with the standards of the European Union. And that is how more than 340 companies in India, they have obtained this certification, and they are able to supply to the European Union. And non-EU is about 275. The problem here is that only 25% of this capacity is being utilized. This is the major problem our processing plants are facing, because the raw material is in shortage, and that definitely shows that we have to increase our production of all these species, especially Vanamai and other species. So because this 25% is the capacity utilization of these plants, 600 plants, and there is a lot of scope for increasing this, and this is one area we have to look into that. So then, of course, customer value is, of course, quality, price, and service. Then looking at this slide, in the last 3 years, MPEDA has helped some of the factories in creating the value-added facilities in their factories. So in the last 3 years, 129 factories, 129 processing plants have been given some subsidies or financial support in the last 3 years, and coming to it will about 50 crore rupees. And this year we have plans to do another 40 such companies, again around 50 crores. We'll be very happy to provide this financial support to the processing plants. Next is value addition. This difference between value addition and also the raw material export. Here, some of the factors that determine the value addition in India are these. Number one is a policy. We need to have a differential policy because I'm sure my exporter friends will definitely agree with me. The policy, as far as MES is concerned, whether you are exporting raw materials or you are exporting value added products, the incentive is same. I think only 7% is the incentive. We have been asking the government, the Department of Commerce, to increase the MES percentage from 7 to 10%, so that more and more processing plants will come into the field of value addition. So this is one policy we need. And of course, R&D support. Without this R&D support and technological advancements, we cannot increase the value-added scenario in the country. And the investment. Those of you who have seen the fairs in Brussels and Boston, you would have seen a lot of machineries, and that machineries are there to cut the fish into small pieces, and some machines are there to to clean the fish, to remove all those things. No, so I mean, a lot of machinery is there, but we do not have much except for the IQ of that individual freezing machines. We do not have much of these machineries here in the country. So there is a need for acquiring these machineries, and of course, then the skills. The skills are definitely required. Our currently the workers do not have much skills for creating the value-added products. So there is a need for improving the skills of our employees in the processing plants. And of course, the branding is also equally important. If we don't create the branding, and there are no takers for our value-added products. And here, the conventional raw materials, they are high volume but low margins. High volume but low margins. We need to create a scenario in which it will create better employment opportunities and high unit value and high profit also. There is a lot of risk is associated with the value-added products and compared to the raw materials, because raw materials you supply and it is for the customer to use it in whatever way he or she wants to use. Whereas the value-added products, they are meant for certain use. They are ready for eating, ready for cooking and all that. So if there is any problem, they may not accept it. That is why the risk is very high. This is also one of the reasons why many people are not getting into the value-added sector. They are happy doing the conventional seafood, conventional raw material exports. So, but of course, there is a need to come out of this comfort zone. The most of our people are in the comfort zone, and then they are not able to come out of the zone and then try to take more risks. So, but when you go to the value-added scenario, there is an increase. Definitely, not only the seafood industry, but also the agriculture and also other ingredients, spices. All those industries also will definitely improve. So that means there is a lot of scope for this area. And I just wanted to end with a success story. I want to talk about this Govt Marine Exports Private Limited in Ratnagiri in Maharashtra. So these are some of the products they are exporting to foreign countries. They look like crab sticks, but they actually these are not crabs. They are, I think, made of some fish product only. It's basically fish product, but the color is there, red color is there, and it looks like as if the crab sticks are being exported. So this is one of the very successful company from India, and there's a lot of demand for these products. And if you look at their success, they just invested about 3.17 crores, and we have given an assistance of about 50 lakh rupees. But look at these figures. They have achieved exports of 53 crores in 10 years. So that is the kind of investment and this kind of returns this company is having with 3.17 crore cost investment. They got about 53 crores in 10 years. So this alone shows there is definitely a great potential for creation of value-added products from India. And MPEDA is also doing their bit in providing some financial support in the form of some the subsidies. So if anybody is coming out with any project, we can give a subsidy of up to 5 crore rupees in the existing scheme. And if government gives more funds for us, then we can help more and more companies. So this year, I'm hoping to help about 40 companies with an outlay of almost about 40 crore rupees. So this is what I want. I thought I will share these things, and with a request to all my friends. I'm sure more than 400 people are attending this conference. So a lot of potential, and as rightly pointed out by our Honorable Secretary Raju Ranjan sir. So the PMMSY has been launched recently, and sir has given a very detailed presentation. So it is now for the private sector and other state governments to come forward and take the advantage of these schemes and then improve our sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your very nice presentation for the export scenario. So now I would request Mr. Elias Seth to give the presentation.
Sultan. Can you please put the PPT?
Shimon, can you please start the PPT of
Yeah,
Mr.
sure.
Ilyas said?
Just a second.
Hot water. Hot water.
Meeting over.
Sir, you need to say next when you want to change this slide, please.
Yeah. Yeah, hello. Seafood Exporters of India welcomes everybody. I should really be thankful to Dr. Rajiv Ranjan for his excellent presentation and also to Dr. Srinivas for his presentation too on value addition. Now, next slide, please. Yeah. Now, first, let us now understand what is really value addition. Okay. The definition in Webster's Dictionary of value addition of related to or being a product whose value has been increased, especially by special manufacturing, marketing, or processing. But unfortunately, yes, that slide, next slide. Yeah. But unfortunately, what has happened is the definition of value addition has been ignored by various government departments and organizations who are terming only prepared products under Chapter 16 of Utilization Code as value addition, which is cooked, seasoned, and so on. Sir, what I would say is value can be added in any form, in raw, marinated, in ready-to-eat form, and of course in cooked form, as long as value is added to the product through effective marketing, branding, faster freezing methods, in attractive and convenient packaging modes, and so on. Therefore, the mindset on value addition being only in prepared form has to change. It is because of this that value addition in marine products export sector is said to be 10 to 12%, whereas in actual terms it's 30 to 35% of our total exports. This can be increased considerably by a focused approach from the exporters and from the government. There's a need for changing government schemes on incentivization. The mindset of the exporters also needs a change. Skill development and productivity linked wage policies are needed. Next slide, please. Yeah. Now I'm just giving you the status of the marine product export sector. You will find that the export value, though it has a little bit come down, actually the growth in 10 years is almost 500%. But in the last 2-3 years, it has been hovering around 6.7 to 7 billion US dollars. But in rupee terms also it's gone up. I think in 2019-20, it is around 46 or 47,000 crores. Okay, the quantity also has been going up. As already chairman explained to you, the share of capture and culture, the culture is about 35% in terms of quantity, but in terms of value, it is the reverse. Okay. Now the market, if you see the market distribution, USA is about 35% of the total market, and Southeast Asia is about 29%. This is a market which really we should not be focusing upon. This is where only raw material is going. EU is 15%, Japan is 6%, and others are 5%. Can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah. The export value in terms of US dollars, though it is now in the current next year, we expected 8 billion before this COVID hit us. So this year maybe still 6.5 billion or so is what we feel. There could be a slide down this year. But by 2025, we expect to touch 15 billion. The quantity in terms of the tons will be 1.5 billion this year, will be 3 million next year. And employment from 10 to, it will go up to 15 million or more in the coming years. The next slide, please. Yeah. Now, the list of eligible value-added products, as I told you, it is not only in cooked or other form, it is in various other forms as has been outlined here. Freeze-dried shrimp, we call it AFD, then IQF in various forms, blanch, butterfly, squid shrimp, split shrimp, and so on. These are all the shrimp products. And then shatter pack head-on shrimp in consumer pack of maximum 2 kg. Next slide, please. Yeah. Then you have got the cephalopod projects, that is the cuttlefish and other things, again in various forms, mostly in raw and other forms. Yes, next one, please. Yeah. Then we have fish products, battered and breaded fish products, IPF breaded fish fillets, and the likes. Next slide, please. Then we have this chitin, chitosan, collagen, omega-3 fatty acid, seaweed products, choline. Yeah, next slide, please. And ready-to-eat seafood products like crab cakes, that is the surimi products, then extruded seafood products, fish, shrimp, cephalad, outlay, and all that, patties, curries, and all that put together. Then next slide, please. Again, I've just listed out the various value-added products that are being done now and can be developed upon. Next slide. Yeah. Now, let us get to what the trade can do in trying to increase these value-added products. Now, value addition needs a specialized approach with skilled and trained labor. The productivity of such product can increase only with continuous specialized work and experience. Now, what is happening today is a lot of bulk production is being mixed with value-added production. This combining bulk production with value-added production will affect quality and productivity. Therefore, this is my suggestion. The bulk production of raw material or semi-processed product frozen in block form should become a separate segment. So the bulk production of raw material semi-processed product in block form should become a separate segment. These exports should become less and less. This is what is going to Vietnam and China, where it is being reprocessed and being exported to other countries. I feel in India, this should be a separate segment. And then this segment, such frozen raw material and semi-processed product, should be supplied to the processors with only value-added equipment, skilled labor, and specialized packing arrangements. That means you have two segments. One is the bulk production of segment, the other is the value-added segment. So this bulk segment should supply to the value-added segment. The export of such products should be, the value-added products should be fully incentivized and supported. Next slide, please. Then what happens is, the segment of processors supplying frozen raw material and semi-frozen material must be called as support manufacturers of the exporters and given all the export benefits, whether it be in finance terms or the fiscal benefits or whatever. Okay, the next slide, please. Now, the trade trying to do that. Now, what can the government do? The government should now come out with schemes in the future that they should incentivize only value-added products progressively. You should move towards that. You should incentivize only value-added products. Otherwise, the value-added segment will never grow. This is my view. Then, you support manufacturers, exporters of value-added products to be support manufacturers of exporters of value-added products. That is the raw material and the bulk producers. They should be extended proportionate benefit of the incentive. They should also get bank funding, tax benefits, and all other supports of exporters. Though they are not exporting themselves, since they are the support manufacturers, as is done in SCZs, this segment also should get all the export benefits, the bank funding, tax benefits, and all other supports of exports in a proportionate manner, which has to be worked out because they have a role to play. They have a good major role to play. Then what comes about is skill development. Skill development is to be supported, including training from abroad. This is a very important thing because if Vietnam and others have taken a lead, their skill is much better than ours. So if we have separate value addition as a separate segment, the skill development can be supported there, and you can get labor from abroad, train up our labor, and then move on. So this is very important for us. Then we have to introduce productivity-linked wage laws. It has to be productive. What today that's not so that productivity is not rewarded. So there is no productivity is very less. The Indian labor productivity is very less in our sector. Then the next thing is we have to subsidize investments only for value-added equipment and infrastructure. Whether MPEDA subsidy or Food Processing Ministry subsidy or Fisheries Ministry subsidy, it should be focused towards investments on value-added equipment and infrastructure. Then, exports of frozen, raw or semi-processed material to countries reprocessing and re-exporting the same should be discouraged. Then we should have FTAs with Europe, USA and other countries to be addressed, because these are our value-added markets. Okay, these FTAs that are addressed, where import duties on marine products should be removed on reciprocal basis. Now, Vietnam, our biggest competitor for value addition, has worked out such FTAs and now have a big advantage. Their duties are almost zero in Europe now. They'll have a big advantage over us. Ours are about 4 to 6% or even more. So this is one thing which we really have to look at. Our government has to look at very seriously. Then FDIs with majority Indian stake for value-added processing and export has to be encouraged. Next slide, please. So, taking all these factors into account, where we have mentioned what are the fiscal supports to be given, what are the policy supports to be given, and how the industry itself can be segmentized. I think if we do all these, and we have to do all these, then our value-added exports, I'm sure, will go up to 75% of our total exports. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm through.
Thank you, sir, for your nice presentation highlighting the issues of value addition in fishery sector. So now I would request, I think, sir, Mr. Dr. K. Gopal, sir, you would like to speak now, or we would like to hear from you at the end also. Sir, what is your preference?
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm ready. So let me say a few words. Anyway, you can't, expect too many technicalities from a journalist administrator. We would like to touch upon a couple of policy issues. Is it okay?
Yes.
Can I go ahead?
Oh, okay, sir. Okay, sir. As you wish, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
You
we
are
can
audible.
hear you.
Anyway, so I really miss respected Fisheries Secretary, our esteemed senior colleague, Dr. Raju Ranjan Saab. So I'm sure I'll be talking to him separately on that. Mr. Anup Kumar, Principal Secretary, Government of Maharashtra. My dear friend, Chairman MPEDA, Mr. K. Srinivas. And quite familiar face, Dr. Rajiv Singh, with whom I think we have held a series of workshops in the past. And very, very familiar face, Mr. Elias Seth. So with whom I think we periodically meet and share our thoughts. So and other dignitaries and friends from the organization Indian Chamber of Commerce. It's indeed my pleasure and privilege to participate in this e-conference on the opportunities in processing, freezing, and exporting of value-added products for seafood industries. I hope during this COVID-19 lockdown situation, this platform would definitely give better opportunities for the fraternity in the seafood industry to address their issues. I sincerely thank the Indian Chamber of Commerce for this opportunity. Let me also take this opportunity to inform that Tamil Nadu has just secured first position in marine fish production in the country with the ever high fish production of 7.75 lakh tons as per the latest CMFRI report. It's a result of sustained efforts of the government of Tamil Nadu with the support of several stakeholders, including Seafood Exporters Association of India and the central institutes and and we get a continued support from MPEDA. So there are several organizations involved in this, in making this as a noble venture, and we could achieve this. So we definitely, I think, continue to put our best efforts to maintain our position. Let me also say a few things about Tamil Nadu. Mainly, Tamil Nadu's supply chain system and its facilities. Tamil Nadu, with a coastal length of 1,076 kilometers, equipped with 9 major fishing harbors, 36 fish landing centers, and 254 fish landing points, and also having a fleet strength of 6,000 and add mechanized boats and 40,000 add country crafts. That shows, I think, what sort of infrastructure we have created in the state, especially in the vessel side. Tamil Nadu exported 1,28,845 metric tons of marine fishery products and earned a foreign exchange of rupees 5,591 crore during the year 2018-19. I think we are waiting for 19-20 figure. I think hopefully I think MPEDA would release this figure soon. There are 75 fish processing plants with a capacity of 3,143 metric ton, 77 cold storages with a capacity of 48,000 metric ton, and 8 chilled storage units with a total capacity of 2,100 metric ton are operating the state to contribute for these exports. It is envisaged to build 2,000 deep sea fishing boats in Park Bay area in 3 years' time to diversify the fishing into deep sea fishing to utilize the untapped fishery resources. Already we had launched a couple of very the brand new boats with the help of Cochin Shipyard. So that's triggering and motivating many fishermen to come forward. Hopefully, I think we'll definitely achieve this important parameter of vessels diversification. On completion, this initiative of the state will result in 1.20 lakh metric ton of deep sea fish catch, landing additionally from the newly developed deep sea fishing fleet. That's what exactly we are looking forward to see good results coming up from these, the initiatives, combined initiatives of Government of India as well as Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu has 3.83 lakh hectare of inland water bodies with estimated production of 4.5 lakh metric ton. The present production from inland fisheries sector is almost 2.15 lakh metric ton. The State Fisheries Department has 11 fish seed production centers, 42 fish seed rearing centers, contributing about 56 million fish seeds to the sector. That's what really, I think, the direct help to the farmers. The state has 56,000 hectare of backwater and the creeks that offers enough opportunities for the development of coastal aquaculture. There are 65 shrimp hatcheries for supply of quality seeds to farms in Tamil Nadu in other states. So 3,000 shrimp farms in 11,000 hectares of area is contributing to the aquaculture production in the state. So I think, but for which aquaculture is the one area where we want to put the best efforts in the months to come or year to come. So I can also assure that there are plenty of opportunities in the state for fish processing sector. The government is in the process of developing backward and forward linkages with the cold chain facilities in all the major harbors of the state to handle the deep sea fish catches in global standards. And we have created a good number of very state-of-art fishing harbors. This is what we want to inform the audience. The government has initiated action for establishing forward-backward linkages with the cold chain facilities in Mukayur Fishing Harbor in Ramanathapuram district to handle the deep sea tuna and tuna-like fishes at an estimated cost of rupees 20 crore and tuna processing corridor between the Ramanathapuram and Kanyakumari district, which is going to be quite useful to the entire Park Bay and Gulf of Mannar area. Pre-processing facilities are being established in major fishing harbors and fish landing centers for hygienic handling and preservation of the fish for better value for the catches. Tamil Nadu has already taken steps for establishing integrated fish processing parks in all the 13 coastal districts with the PPP mode. We are welcoming any interested investor into this. In the first instance, a fish processing unit with the state-of-art facilities have been established in Tiruvallur district. 3 more fish processing units are under development in Thoothukudi and Kanyakumari districts. So we want to give a lot of focus for creating such fish processing parks. The state has created a single window clearance system through Guidance Bureau coming under Industries Department for creating a fish processing infrastructure to encourage the private players. Tamil Nadu Business Facilitation Act 2018 and the Tamil Nadu Agriculture Produce and Livestock Contract Farming Services, that is Promotion and Facilitation Act 2019, are the legislations of the state government to support the aquaculture and mariculture, which in turn will help the fish processing sector. The state is in the process of developing a land leasing policy for promoting a coastal aquaculture. Maybe we'll get back to the earliest on this issue. Efforts have been taken by the government to convert the low value fishes into ready to eat and ready to cook products, which will have an effective impact in further reduction of the wastage and spoilage and also increase the per capita consumption in the state of Tamil Nadu. Our government has established a product specific industrial estate exclusive for integrated seafood park in Ramanathapuram at an extent of 100 acres, of which 50 acres of land is developed with the basic facilities of road and etc. During the COVID-19 lockdown, the state government have implemented various welfare measures to support the livelihood of the fishermen. The state government has disbursed 2,000 rupees as an one-time ex gratia, totaling 93.21 crore to 4.66 lakh fishers. Besides the ban period relief of almost 88 crore to 1.75 lakh fishermen families. You know that fishermen is the center of all the strategies which we are talking about. The livelihood of traditional fishermen was ensured by allowing them for fishing during the lockdown period by following certain preventive guidelines. The government facilitated the continuous operation of the fish processing sector during this lockdown period by providing e-passes to the workers and for raw material movement from the production points to the processing points. I think these were the few efforts which were taken during the pandemic time. I'm very happy to note that the government of India has now introduced various schemes for fish processing sector under PMMSY and the FIDF and Sagarmala. I'm sure I think all these schemes are going to really strengthen this entire the sector. Respected Secretary, Fisheries Secretary was mentioning about Prime Minister, the Matsya Sampada Yojana PMSY, for which already we had sent a proposal. So that's going to really revamp the entire system. Whatever the points which we are talking about, talked by Mr. Seaf and talked by Mr. Srinivas and talked by everybody, are I think going to be addressed with the help of all these schemes or with the integration of all these schemes. The Department of Micro and Small and Medium Enterprises, for which I am holding the full addition charge as a Principal Secretary, is also taking various measures in the state for the development of the fish processing sector. So let me inform you again that the following aspects will be given a lot of importance. That is strengthening of value chain, quality controls and elimination of the residues, seaweed cultivation, cage farming, infrastructure development, vessels diversification, the value-added products for which we know we got excellent definitions, and sustained fisheries practices. That's ultimately what is important for us. And as rightly pointed out by Union Secretary, the ornamental fish, which has got a huge demand. Already we had initiated several measures in this direction with the help of Dr. J. Jayalalitha Fisheries University here. and with the collaboration from the Fisheries Department as well as other ICM, the ICR, the institutes. So I think we are going to give a lot of importance to all these aspects for this year as well as next year. I hope this e-conference will definitely help the entrepreneurs in the fish processing sector, which is a sunrise sector, basically to take their business to the next levels. Not only as a Secretary Fisheries, Dairy Development and Animal Husbandry, but as a Secretary of MSME also, I think I would be able to really put the EDI and EDP related and skilling related activities and also several the micro processing industrial the modalities into it. Hopefully, I think we'll be able to see a huge the quantum jump in the growth as well as exports and various other parameters. So I thank the Indian Chamber of Commerce. I thank MPEDA. I thank Seafood Exporters Association of India, through whose collaboration this session is being arranged. My sincere thanks to Government of India Secretary for giving us a lot of encouragement. So he brought down all the guidelines. So I think we are absolutely happy to put all these guidelines on practice, and we want to see what we can do best for the system and best for the exporters, best for the fishermen. Thank you very much. Bye bye. I think I've finished.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your detailed deliberations on the Tamil Nadu perspective. Thank you, sir. And also another request to all our panelists to please be online, because there are a lot of questions coming up. So please stay with us till end of the session. Thank you. Now over to Mr. Rajoshi Banerjee, President, Seafood Export Association of India, West Bengal chapter. Mr. Banerjee, please start your deliberations. Thank you.
Good evening to all participants, as well as all my esteemed co-panelists. My name is Rajoshi Banerjee. I'm the President of the Seafood Exporters Association in the West Bengal region, and the managing director of my company, Razban Seafood Private Limited, which has one of the most modern value addition lines among the few companies in West Bengal which has it. My previous speakers, particularly Secretary Fisheries, Shri Rajiv Ranjan Singh Saab, as well as Chairman MPEDA, Mr. K. Srinivas, our National Secretary General, Shri Ilyas Seth, have actually covered most of the important points pertaining to value addition, as well as policy prescriptions and skill developments which are required for that. So I will actually try and focus my brief presentation on the West Bengal aspect only. The fishery sector of West Bengal state is one of the potential sources of nutritious food, income, employment generation for economically backward people. West Bengal state is bestowed with more than 20 million impounded water bodies and ample open water resources in the forms of rivers, canals, streams, and tributaries. We produced in West Bengal approximately 17 lakh metric ton during 2018. The production of West Bengal, which combines the shrimp as well as the fish production, has been hovering around the 17 lakh metric ton mark for a couple of years now. The production could have been more if the available water bodies were efficiently utilized for pisciculture. West Bengal actually has the highest area of brackish water suitable for shrimp cultivation in the entire country, which is estimated at approximately 4 lakh hectares. However, very small percentage of this is presently being utilized. So looking at the raw material side of it, West Bengal has already abundant raw material. However, scopes exist to increase the production of West Bengal at least 3 to 5 times more, considering the amount of area which is at our disposal. At the moment, the West Bengal fish production, as you know, West Bengal is one of the largest consumers of fish and fishery products in the entire country as well. So there exists a very significant domestic market. A large portion of the fish which is consumed in West Bengal presently comes from Andhra. whether indigenous fish culture has been developed to a large extent. However, eventually, with the development of the water resources which West Bengal has and the policy prescriptions which the government is undertaking, it is expected and hoped that West Bengal will emerge as the largest fish and shrimp producer in the country. Now, as far as the value addition in West Bengal is concerned, we need to, am I audible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, you are audible.
The video has actually disconnected. So
No,
I was,
we can see you.
you can see me, right?
Yeah,
Fine.
we can hear you. We can
Okay.
hear you quite clearly. Yeah.
Right. As far as West Bengal is concerned, we have to consider that the West Bengal situation is slightly different from the other countries, in the sense that West Bengal, in addition to exportable products, does actually have a state market which is also huge and which can also be utilized for people who, entrepreneurs who actually invest in value addition, equipment, infrastructure in West Bengal. First, let us look at the two sectors one by one. As far as the export markets, the exportable products from West Bengal are concerned, there are shrimp products which can be added value, primarily by creation of infrastructure, by training, by imparting skill training to the labor class, and as well as marketing and branding of the products and tying up with the overseas customers. Value addition is actually quite different from the block frozen products, which we are exporting by and large from India. Value addition requires close interaction with the importers, with the importing channels, with the importing companies, and cater to the changing needs of the consumer demand and to be abreast of the changing patterns of consumption in the overseas countries. As Mr. Elias said correctly point out before me, we should really focus on USA and EU instead of exporting processed or semi-processed products to countries who reprocess it and value add it and then export it to the same countries where we are trying to push our value-added products. So as far as West Bengal products which can be added value and exported are concerned, comprises of mainly three items. Number one is Vanamai shrimps, two is black tiger shrimps, and three is Macrobrachium rosenbergi, which we call scampi in the common parlance. Among these, of course, there are some scopes for smaller shrimps also, but the production of that is not that high in West Bengal. Of the shrimp products, we can look at, West Bengal can easily do products like center peel shrimp, cooked center peel shrimp, easy peel shrimp, cooked easy peel shrimp, shrimp skewers, coated fantail, butterfly, coated butterfly, nobashi, etc. for the export market. All these products require primarily sanitary and phytosanitary requirements to be complied as far as the overseas markets demands are concerned. Second is skilled production. Three is infrastructure and some supply of tools, implements, and inputs which are required for the value addition. Now, none of this is very difficult for the West Bengal exporters or the West Bengal entrepreneurs to implement. So essentially, West Bengal stands on a threshold of producing and exporting shrimp value-added products. However, the emphasis has to be diverted from production, from the easy way out of producing block products into value-added products. So the existing entrepreneurs, as well as the incoming entrepreneurs, actually have to take the endeavor, take the initiative to divert a part of their investment into installation and implementation of infrastructure and training of labor, which can actually produce the value-added product. The profits to be earned out of the shrimp value-added products are absolutely immense. There are many countries who are benefiting immensely from it. Take the example of Vietnam. They're buying the blocks from us, adding huge value to that, and pocketing the profit. This is very much possible in West Bengal. Second is the fish value-added products. As far as the fish value-added products are concerned, West Bengal has a number of fishes. However, the price of the domestic fish is high, because there is a strong domestic demand within the state of West Bengal. But in spite of that, the products like fish finger, fish cutlet, fish roll, fish nuggets for export market, which are very running and regular products for export markets, can easily be produced with investment of only a few crores of machinery as well as infrastructure. We are putting up seafood factories costing between 25 crores and 50 crores. To put up a value addition area or to put up a value addition infrastructure as an annexee to the main factory would cost only about 5 crores. But the amount of profits one can earn out of that is many times more than from exporting the traditional products. So that's the export portion of West Bengal is concerned, where opportunities exist both in shrimp as well as in fish. Now let us look at the domestic market value-added products, for which there is a ready market in West Bengal. Products like shrimp kebab, shrimp pakoda, shrimp pickles, fish samosa, fish pakoda, fish papad, fish curry and chili fish in retortable pouches. These are all products for which the fish eating population of West Bengal, Orissa, and the northeastern states are actually a ready consumer. If the quality can be maintained, if the consistency of supply can be sustained, and if the product can be presented in an attractive packaging, all of these items have a very, very strong demand in West Bengal, as has been evinced by the fact that there are companies which are producing similar products in other parts of India. But if you go to the Spencer or to the Metro Cash and Carry, you will find many of these products which have been produced in other parts of India, but they are being sold in West Bengal, proving thereby that there are consumers in West Bengal who are ready to pick up this product by paying a premium, and hence an opportunity exists for producing and marketing shrimp and fish value-added products in West Bengal as well. So in summary, West Bengal has a raw material resource which is going to increase manifold in the coming years. Secondly, we have a workforce who are already skilled, but newer skills have to be imparted to them. The government support for value addition in terms of incentive has to be implemented, and West Bengal can benefit from its rare position of exporting value-added products to overseas markets, as well as catering to its existing strong domestic demand. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your nice deliberation touching on the potential of West Bengal value-added products. Thank you, sir. So now we have a very interesting presentation from Freak India. So I would request Mr. Sudhir Kumar, Director Marketing, Freak India, kindly start your presentation. Thank you. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you, ICC, for giving us this opportunity to participate in this e-conference. Among the esteemed guests, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan, Dr. Gopal, Mr. M. Srinivas, and Mr. Elias Seth, and Mr. Rajesh, and also special thanks to Dr. Rajiv Singh for giving us an opportunity to participate in this e-conference. Actually, we have been very much enthused by the presentations of the secretary, with so much of investment which is going to be supported by the government. So I'm going to speak on the opportunities in processing, freezing, and exporting of value-added products for seafood industries. What is value addition? Already we have spoken, but I would like to just give you a small explanation of value addition. Value addition is what you do to the product at each stage of production and it making it into ready to eat, and also you get a better value when you do a value addition. It increases the value and also gets more returns for the same quantity of fish, and it's also a convenient product for the consumers and for urban areas, and also utilization of unconventional fish varieties and attracting more consumers towards fish consumption. Increases the bulk of the product. You can use batter and breadcrumbs, in turn reducing the cost. This is a typical seafood processing plant. It is fishing either from the aquaculture or from the sea. It is brought with ice, then it is brought to the pre-processing centers where it is processed either through plate freezing, blast freezing or IQF, or after cooking, the value added products are taken to an IQF and then taken to the cold storages. From cold storages, after a long-term storage, it goes to the export market and also to the domestic retail. This is view of processing and processing hall and packaging and freezing. What is a freezing process? Freezing process is basically lowering the temperature of the product, mostly achieving it below the freezing point and also shifting the phase from the liquid to solid state. Fish contains approximately 75% mass of water, but dissolved salts lowers the freezing point below 0 degree. A typical fish freezing temperature is between -1 and -2, and also the critical zone where the fish is frozen is -1 to -5. But for the longer storage, we take the core product temperature to -18 by keeping it in the cold storages. There are various methods of freezing value-added products, as well as Mr. Elias said, value addition is not only creation of adding ingredients, even packaging is a value addition. Like how you pack your product and how you present the product is also a value addition, like head-on, tailless, all kinds of, even a small consumer packs is a value addition. So you can freeze them in plate freezers using direct contact where the fluid is circulated through a metal plate and then placed directly against the shrimp trays. Next is a important process which was prominent about 10 years back. Even now they are doing it. This is blast freezing. It is where the air is used to freeze the product from say 4 hours to maybe 12 hours, depending upon the thickness of the fish. Here we can do ribbon fish, kingfish. Tuna is also one of the important fish which is frozen using blast freezing technology. And also the next item is the steam cooking or the cooking thing, breaded shrimps, and also you can cook the seafood and make into various cutlets or nuggets or whatever possible products. And these products have to be again taken to a individually quick frozen IQF. This is now the most popular method of freezing in India, where most of the seafood processing units are using IQF for uniform pre-freezing and proper grading of the product. Shrimps, tiger prawns, whatever we discussed in the earlier presentations, the majority of the catch is being from IQFs. Squids, fish fillets are also used for freezing in IQF. Even brine chillers are used for either freeze the cooked or the raw shrimp. Also, sometimes they are using it for tuna, and also brine, like tuna is canned in brine solution, and then also shellfishes and crabs can be used brine chillers. After freezing all these products, then you need to keep them in a proper cold storage. The infrastructure required is cold storage, where you keep the fish from -18 to -25. In some cases, it goes even up to -30. You can see here the fatty fish, sardines, salmon, etc. For 4 months, you need to store at -18. If you want a longer term storage, you have to store at -25, -12. I mean, sorry, -25 or -30 for an extended life. You can see even you can extend the life up to 24 months if you keep the storage at -30 degrees. So this is how the products are stored, the cold storage. And next comes the important thing. Now with the cost of raw material going very high, you have to save on the energy cost in your seafood processing plant. Either it's for value added or for any seafood processing plant. And so use of natural refrigerants, mainly ammonia, is more popular in seafood processing plants because it's environmental friendly. It is also consumes less power as compared to the so-called man-made refrigerants. And it is also having 0 ODP level, and the global warming potential also is less than 1. So which gives you, it's an environmentally safe refrigerant. Some of the equipments which have now are most common for IQFs and other blast freezers are screw compressors, which are being manufactured by many manufacturers. And one of our major products which we give to this industry is screw compressors. These are energy saving equipments as compared to the other range of reciprocating compressors, considering the capacities of plants which nowadays range between 50 metric tons per day or 60 metric tons per day. You need to go in for screw compressors, which are useful for automatic operation. Then the next is for blast freezers and process hall cooling. These are air cooling units, which are made out of stainless steel with aluminum fins. Then comes the evaporative condensers, which are again most energy efficient as compared to the cooling tower and PHE or shell and tube condensers. So these are some of the energy efficient refrigeration equipments which are now, and automation plays a key part. I think one of my fellow panelists is also going to give a presentation on how to automate a seafood processing plant. But this automation is only for the refrigeration plant for data monitoring, which improves the accuracy of the temperatures maintained, and also you can also increase the quality and improve the quality of the product by constant monitoring. The latest development which Frick India has come into this is a tuna freezing at -60 degrees. We have started 1 or 2 installations which are under execution. So this is one more area where, because this, if the tuna fish is processed at -60, it has got a very value added product because it goes for sashimi. It can be exported to Japan. This meat is used after it is frozen, or chilled tuna is also exported. So this is one of the biggest areas where we are now concentrating, apart from IQF freezing it at -60 degree for tuna fish. This is one more advantage like which we can offer you in this latest thing. And this is how ultra low we have achieved -60 degrees in ultra low temperature freezing for tuna. So this improves the value addition. The value of the tuna frozen at -60 is at least 3 to 4 times the value which you freeze at -30 degrees or -40 degrees. It has got a very good value in the international market. So exporting of value-added products, mainly as we have seen, is done through IQF after it is cooked or maybe packed, as I said, as I fully agree with Mr. Elias said, that even packaging and making it into attractive packaging is also value-added products. And these are done through refrigeration equipments, freezing using IQFs and compressors and condensers. And considering the raw material cost, and you have to save on energy, you can use the energy saving efficient refrigerant as well as refrigeration equipment. You can contact us at the following email ID. And also I once again take this opportunity to thank ICC for giving us the opportunity. We are open to some question answer session at the end of the seminar. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sudhir Kumar from Frick India, and very nice presentation on the freezing technology. So now we are going for another presentation from Craxon Technologies. They will speak on the ERP solutions for the exporters. Over to Mr. Rajesh Patil of Craxon Technology. Mr. Rajesh Patil.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Madhuparma. Let me begin. Let me share my screen first. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So good afternoon, everyone. And this is really a nice webinar that
Give it in
ICC
the,
has.
slideshow mode.
Okay, let me. Okay, so is it good now? Okay, so as I said, thank you everyone, and good afternoon. I'm Rajesh, and we're really honored to be here with Dr. Rajiv, Dr. Rajiv Ranjan, Dr. Gopal, Mr. Srinivas, Mr. Elias, Mr. Banerjee, and all fellows panelists. And this seminar is actually a very good platform today for knowing more about value-added product on seafood market. And I'm here talking about digital transformation, how it is helping seafood processing industry for every stage of value chain, like value addition, value realization, and value creation. And we are sharing our ideas on that and how to use this technology to improve the productivity and get high unit volume at every level of processing. Okay, so let me first introduce Cooperatives Technology. Cooperatives Technology ventured into seafood processing in 2015 with a small plant in Maharashtra. And since then, we took enormous effort to understand the seafood business and what processing pattern is and what every process needs. And now we are a leading software product company for small, medium, large scale food processing enterprises. And we are primarily focusing on fresh food sea products, vegetable, fruits, pulses, nuts, and spices. And our specialty is value add in seafood processing. And I'm with the Cooperatives Technology from past 2 years, working as the director, overseeing business and development in India and North America. And the Cooperatives Technology, as I said, like we are dedicated to serve, dedicatedly serving more than 6 years now, all the needs of notable processing seafood industry. And I will be happy to share you how. Okay, this is our agenda today, that I will be covering all the digital transformation, how it is helping to help value add seafood processing. So coming to like the first point is how digital transformation changing the world. As we know, right, it is a more rapidly developing innovation in the history, which is actually 50% of world population has already been reached using the digital technology or affected by digital technology, and it is at every level, like connectivity, finance, name it, and it is there actually helping them, right? And the main reason that we are talking about digital technology today, because and why we should get into this innovation right now, because digital is one of the main ingredients that changing everywhere the organization. They are making them to reassess their business model and improve their productivity. And as one of the Abhinav Atmanirbhar initiative, this is one of the initiative that government is actually pushing. And with this COVID-19, it is actually provide a fertile land to have a digital transformation, because it is with the timely need. It is changing the customer behavior. expectation of the customers and their engagement with the brands, right? And it is changing all every at each and every level of society. So with the adoption of this technology, it is impacting all of us. That makes it very essential for any organization. And then it is basically for the seafood, it is very essential to get into this development and get the benefit of it. And if to be the and the hard truth is, if we are not adapting it now, then we will be left behind. And then Krugzen is there to help with this on the seafood market, and we are taking enormous effort to serve the seafood industry with that. Okay, this is now to begin with. Like, let understand the anatomy of digital transformation. So it contains three main tools, processes, and people. And it is combined together to solve any critical problem and add the substantial value in the processes on enterprises. Okay, and thus we achieve the optimization at every level. Okay, and that is in turn help you to reduce your operational cost and improve the productivity. So, and this is in this slide, I tried to put what is current seafood industry looks on a digital scale. You can see 80% of our seafood industry is still using the Microsoft Excel, which is good. We are actually very good, and it is we really did a good job there. But it is still have a lot of manual intervention, and to further when it comes to tracking of data for raw material, stock, and export, which is difficult. When if any change in variance, it will fall apart, and then we get less accuracy. And with this all digital innovation, this method is become absolute, and this become and proving to be outdated. So it is very important for us to move into digital footprint. 10% of our seafood industry is using generalized ERP solution, which is not fit for the seafood logistics, and it does more harm than helping. And we put more and more effort to get our processes correctly implemented. And 7% of our seafood industry is using homegrown ERP, which is taking a lot of time for them to cope up with all the latest business need and changing policy, everything. So now we have a lot of room there to advance our seafood industry digitally and get more and more profit. And then our challenge as a Krugzen is to convert all this Excel, or help you to convert from Excel data tracking to the tailor-made latest technologies and platforms, so that you can get all the data at a centralized and tracking at one place, and which will help you to reduce the silos between your processes, and you have the data at one point and one click everywhere, so that you can control your processes and focus on more on the value addition of the process and get the profitability. So that is the importance of seafood industry currently, that to as soon as get on the digital platform. Okay, and this diagram, it will tell you the one shot picture, right? It's a fishbone diagram that what are we missing if we are not digitizing or not move on digital platform. Okay, there are major impacts still there if we don't act now. That takes challenges with the supplier management, no control on production leakage, missing products, missing stock, and valuation. The most important is valuation of your stock. So to gain control in this process and improve your productivity, and now it is the time to have every seafood processor, or even at every level, we should think of modernizing our processes. So these are the major roadblocks that we can see in currently in digital transformation of seafood industry. One is management mindset. So around 2/3 of our manager that thinks that the digitization or ERP is added expense to modernize, because currently it's working, but then they're saying that it is added advantage, then they are thinking as an optimization tool. But every every business leader or seafood leader, they should understand that it is just not a transformation of your channels or underlying system. It's a transformation of your business model. And it is It is one of the uh, one of the timely need that you have to get onto this one to optimize your value addition or at every level, right? And then another roadblock is generalized ERP in the market. Those are, as I said, those are there are a lot of software available in the market, ERP solution available in the market, but those are not concentrating on seafood market or seafood processors, what they need. Okay, because it's that my third point says, right, seafood has very unique requirement because of the raw material complexity and perishability, right? It has to go through a separate or very complex processing to have that value added, right? And it becomes very difficult when it comes to tracking point. So that's why you need a ERP solution which understand the processing need. And plus, every processor has its own unique requirement. So when you do when the software understand this too, then it is actually helping. So this is one of the a major roadblock for digital transformation. And second is our and last is our perception of the infrastructure. So that we still think that ERP implementation, needs a lot of IT investment. But the beauty of it, right now the digital technology is so advanced technology, there is a zero investment cost or zero capital investment for this digital transformation. There is some recurring expense that you have monthly or yearly, but that become when you see improvement your processes and improvement in your productivity, right? That cost will become absolute over a long period of time. So these are the main roadblocks that I can see for the digital industry, sort of seafood industry to get onto digital platform. So next slide is let's see how Kregson is helping and what is a strong point that Kregson had, right? Because I said we started from the small plant of processing plant, and we worked every process, whatever implementation we did, we worked there with, we are working with this all processing unit as one of the partners. So we understand what the seafood industry needs and what the business is headed. And with this understanding of true need, a unique need of seafood industry, and we know the technology, we have the technology background. So we understand the technology, understand the seafood needs. So we know how to get there with this technology, and we keep scanning the technology market, so we know what to provide the cost efficient solution to processing plants. So these are few advantage that the Kregson team has over for the helping the seafood market, right? And we take the proud in ourselves that we know the business domain knowledge, that is, as I said, like what is the unique needs of seed processing industry, and as also the unique needs of each processor. So that is the biggest advantage of as Kregson team. Next is this diagram will see, right? We are trying to depict all the integration or what is a footprint of Kregson in seafood processing. And you can see if around 95% of integration point or processing that we are covered here on this diagram, right? So it is almost every segment of seafood processing that we are covering, right from the source, that is from the vessel that catches the fish, until it goes to finished market, right? So every level we are helping to track the to add the traceability, to add the value in every each data you collect, that will help you to reduce your processing silos or data silos within the processes. So you have the control. For example, our farmers, right? The farmers need to have traceability on their production of crops, their production of what the raw material are going. So they get more control over the process on the data because they have the data in front of it. And supplier, they have their own control at every stage. Even processing plant has control on each and every, right from the challan or right from the inventory that they are stocking up until it goes to a finished market. So we are trying to cover like almost covered 95% of seafoods processing segment. And that is one of, and still we are still trying to achieve 100%, so that you will get more and we can help more and more to seafood industry to add the value in their value chain segment. And this is our current focus as a Kregson. So our current focus is farmers, supplier, and processing plant. So as I say, we are helping farmer to improve their productivity. And then we understand that we have a lot of room in our farming sector or pond management. So we are providing this software free to our farmers so that they can concentrate on the productive increase in processes and leave all the tracking point to Croxon. So they can do the crop schedule management. They can the tracking on the hatchery pods, traceability, or monitoring feeds with the different growth parameter or different growth cycles. So they can have all minute level traceability achieved with this software, and we are providing it's free to help our farmers sector to improve on the productivity. And second focus point is supplier, which is also available at very minimal cost, and we help suppliers track all their inventory at every level, right from the raw material procurement, distribution of raw material, and tracking of the vehicle, where it is going, or for which processing plant is going. So every level we are providing the traceability of the supplier. So it is helping both processing plant as a supplier to have a supplier decide a supplier rating, because we have all the data in front of you. And last but not it's a major the most important thing is processing plant. So as I said, like processing plant is our major focus always, because this is the when we are actually see all these three variable factor, like value realization, value creation, and then value addition. This is a major factor that affecting any processing plant, and we are we are helping the processing plant to get on digital technologies and help those realization of value, or realization of the creation of the value. And this is, as I said, this software is available as a SaaS software service as a software, right? So there is no capital investment. Yeah, there is some recurring charges, but I explained earlier, it will become absolute over the period of time. But right now, if you decide to go on digital platform, there is no cost. That the next moment or next minute you will be online and operating and start tracking your every process. So it is with this help you can track yield at every stage, and which is very important to monitor yield, and what is your expense, variable expense. So because you have data, you have data tracking right from the gate entry till finished product and stocking. So you know like where your cost is going. So you can control your variable expense, and all this reporting available on one click, right? So you can be saying like the cost, whatever the cost is not just assumed right now. Okay, it is based on the actual, because you have all the data in front of you. So the processing plant owner can concentrate on the process or improving their profitability, okay, improving their productivity, right? And with this help, processing plant with this implement, we are also helping to increase the productivity of the labor, as Mr. Elias and Mr. Rajiv said, right? This is one of the area that we need improvement to have value addition, right? So this is one of the thing that we are helping all the processing plant at every stage, right? So the next slide is this will give you one short picture that what is available, or what we can provide, like unify your data. This is Unify is one of the platform, right, that Ruxan is providing, which is actually help with your entire business as a one platform, run entire business as a one platform. And it is proven with our implementation and experience, we are able to reduce, or we are able to help processing plant to reduce their operational cost by 65%, which is the biggest achievement. And then we are still looking for any improvement, which is our target is to reduce operation cost most, and it is with 100% return on investment. So this is a big achievement, and which is we are achieved by this one platform as a Unify, and which is we are able to connect all the disconnected or disconnected processes as one platform. And few of the report, right? I say report like consolidation, consolidated production.
Can you please just be brief? Okay, time is running out.
Okay, yeah, sure. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, sure.
So this is our, it is one of the consolidated record vocabulary, production traceability, and exportation document. Those are few one-click report that is available from the Correction Technologies. Okay, and lastly, we are really, I'll again take my time and thank you all the ICC member for arranging this seminar, and it is very good platform, very productive day today. And let's really thank you for all the participants. For your attention, and let's join us to, I can say, resume, review, or reinvigorate ourselves. And after and post COVID, let's be part of the blue revolution of India. Thank you very much, and we will be open for any question or any doubt that you have after the end of this conference. Thank you. Over to Ms. Madhuparna.
Thank you, Mr. Patil, for a very nice and detailed presentation on ERP solutions. So now I am requesting Mr. Parvez Ahmed Khan, Managing Partner, SA Exports, to give his views on the potential for value addition in seafood sector. Over to Mr. Khan. Thank you.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes.
Can you? I'm trying for the slide mode.
Yeah, please. Slide mode, please.
It's not happening. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, it's done now. Okay, I just increased this.
Yeah, full screen.
It's not happening.
You just go to slideshow.
Please go to slideshow and
yeah, I'm doing that.
Task menu. Go to slideshow, please.
Going on the slideshows.
The menu called slideshow.
Okay, yeah. It's not clicking.
Click on that.
I'm pressing, it's not happening. Anyway, I can manage with that, no problem, I think. Can you make it from there?
We can see it. We can see it clearly.
Yeah.
We can see it. Okay, you start.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Dr. Ajib Singh, Mr. Ilyas Seth, Mr. P. Sudhir Kumar, Mr. Rajesh Patil, Mr. Rashmi Banerjee, Mr. K. Srinivasan, sir, Dr. K. Gopal. So I start with Ilyas sir has actually her policy, her proposal policy, what you say, was very pragmatic, and he nicely categorized the product as HLSO block and other as a consumer pack, which goes directly to the consumer. So if we have in mind, then we can, we can really do well, because every packer who starts with a certain product which becomes a commodity after a certain stage, and from that commodity, he has to do expansion for a value-added product. And India is mostly entrepreneur-based packers, which are not corporate. So they have to manage through the same product and goes on the higher level with the profitability of the product. Now, we need to understand the consumer very well, because now since there will be many Kolkata and Odisha packer also connected, and I know the HLSO block is a big problem now in the current scenario. So how we manage with it, that's very important. See, I start with a consumer behavior, because post-COVID-19, there is going to be a big change in the consumer behavior. And we are going to see a completely new consumer maybe, or a very unexpected behavior. And we don't know what is going to come from them, because this will take time. Just imagine, I'm not selling jeans here, maybe. So imagine you are one of your student days, and you have just taken your jeans, favorite jeans, in fact, out of your dryer, and you find a 500 rupees crumpled usable note peeking out of your back pocket, what would be your reaction? You would definitely be very excited and you would be super delighted, because that money you would like to spend on impulse purchase as if you have got this money for free. However, this money at first rate was yours only, but we need to know why there was a wide grin when we got this money. Because 500 rupees note was nothing but a surprise gift from your past. It was forgetful self to your future self, because you had no category in mind for that money, or don't remember even if you did. So this is what happens, and in economics or financial circle, we call it a mental accounting. It's a very important term to understand mental accounting that was introduced by Richard Taylor. If you see here, this is nothing but what we do. We create mental buckets, and where we separate money into separate account, that is mental buckets, and based on subjective criteria, depending on source of income and intent for each account. Now, you see, if we see the source of income here is a regular income, bonus, extraordinary. If I ask you what you would be doing with your regular income, you'd be saying, I'll spend on rent, food, education, utilities. But however, when we say, what do you do with the bonus? You would have a different treatment for this money. You may spend on vacation, clothes, or etc. Or if you have a pension fund, you may treat completely differently. In fact, you always spend regular income differently from bonuses, rather than rationally viewing every rupee as identical, because a rupee is rupee, whether you 1 rupee take from your bonus account or you take from your regular account, but you treat it very differently. And you invest prudently in your retirement account by taking wide risk with a separate stock account. This is also like, if you loses on your pension account or something has lost, you spend in the business, you say, Zindagi bhar ki kamai chali gayi. This is the kind of, pain you have and the treatment for that particular account. House money effect. Here what happened, it has been observed when you do you're a stockbroker or you're in a casino and you gamble and you make some money. What do? You separate the profit from your original capital. And what you do, you are ready to take higher risk on that profit money. And you view that profit as a disposable and take greater risk, though that is also a money and that has the same value. But this is how you start doing your behavior change with doing mental accounting. And each one of us, we do mental accounting. We are in that process always. Now, some of the behavioral economic concept of mental accounting: windfall is income spent more freely, as we said about the 500 rupees which you got it, which you didn't have any account, or a stock profit, or something like a casino, or a bonus, or a surprise, any you would like to spend more freely. Now, what happens when you do that? The decision-making process here is actually not very rational sometimes, because the utility maximizing principle is violated here. So these decisions are mostly affected by economical and psychological factor, and it is a combination of both economical and psychology. In fact, you would be seeing sometimes we spend lavishly on clothing for the festival and other things, because that's related to our emotion and psychology. It violates principle of fungibility, because a rupee is rupee. Either you take it from one account or from another account, it has the same value, but we treat it very differently due to mental accounting. Now, there are upsides of the mental accounting. It can be adaptive strategy, or make final decision more manageable. However, we are stepping into COVID-19 with a very different behavior expected from the consumer. And as we discussed, there are many sources of income for an individual, but we are very skeptical that there will be many people who may have only one source of income, even that also very challenging. So a consumer can completely behave differently in today's scenario. We need to adjust the business accordingly. Now, if you see the US market, like if you take USA market, suppose as an example, and try to understand what is happening there, what is moving, then first we keep this information with us that US unemployment rate dropped to 11.1% in June 2020. The jobless rate and the number of unemployed are up by 7.6% point and 12 million respectively since February. Hotel business, we all know there's a sharp decline. Restaurant business severely affected. There are no white clothes now. So, and there's a very additional factor which is happening in the USA market, that is Ecuador. They are supplying cheap shrimps to USA, mostly HLSO, and I say it's a business disruption. This HLSO has really hit very badly to the HLSO block market, which I was saying earlier. It has hit very badly to the exporters who were more dependent on HLSO business. Now, food service business is very slow in USA. As the food service, they actually are connected to restaurants and other, area where they will be supplying their shrimps. But that's the reason the block market is very bad and it has completely affected. However, retail business for shrimp is expanding. There's one good silver lining that at least the retail business for shrimp is expanding in USA in comparison to block, and this is doing better. And that's the reason we see a sustainability in India, and there's a good export happening even despite due to these challenges. Now, to understand that, I have just framed a question and answer with one of the customer, and from the customer's point of view, what they consider value addition, because as Elias has said, consumer pack is value addition. So from their point of view, what is happening, I just frame it into a question and answer. So my question was to him, what would be the import figure of May, and whom do you rate the 3 countries who are exporting, and did Indian shrimp export decline, and which country did better, and how much percentage up? So his answer was simple. It was top 3 importing countries since January 2001. It was India, Indonesia, Ecuador. But let's see, cannot make the screen big. Anyway, if we see around the reports of Honorberry, Indian shrimp YT day till 2020, there's a 4.8% up. Overall, there's no problem. But when we see the May, import figure of May, there is a big decline, almost 57.8% there's a decline. And if we analyze, it was mostly to do with that time, the COVID-19, because we had March and April was a serious lockdown. So that was the reason that has affected our import figure of May. But overall, it was still plus. But if you see Indonesia, they have smartly taken, you see there's an increment in the import figure, almost 10.5%, and overall you see 24.4%. So they're doing well. And Ecuador, that time it was still, in a decline mode. There was a decline for the Ecuador. My second question was, what is the value-added product scope in USA for Indian shrimp product? Can you suggest 3 best moving product? I say moving product because that brings efficiency to Indian packers, and that's what the consumer pack they're moving. He was like, Indian raw, peel, devein, PDTO, easy peels, cook PD, cook PDTO, are all well accepted by US market. And best 3 moving value-added product in USA, he said PD, CPD, cook PDTO, and easy peel. This is what, something, can give you relief if you are in this, you are doing it, you can sustain and you can move. If you see the peeled shrimp, because India has done very well in peeled shrimp, because this is what skill we already have adopted, and this is that the reason India is actually a market leader in the peeled shrimp. So this skill has been really well adapted. So if you see peeled shrimp import by type and country, you see here, India is almost way ahead of other countries. If you see overall for YTD 2020, it's way ahead. Only there's a decline in the month of May, and obviously the reason was the lockdown. And you see the second competitor, Indonesia, still lags. So when it comes to peeled shrimp, India is actually leading over there in the consumer pack, and there's we have already, our market is big over there. Now, warm water cooked imports, that's also a value-added product. Again, here, if you see, India is holding a good position over here. There is almost decline in the May as it was, as we know, suggest why, but we see an overall there is better positioning. We are almost 29% up compared to the last year, the same period, and we see Indonesia and Vietnam following us. But if we see the third question, what about if I say we can differentiate in any product, or the USA is still the differentiate any product, the consumer over there, then it was breaded shrimp. But if we see at the breaded shrimp, we actually do not find our name here, because we are actually lagging in this area, which is an untapped value-added product. And as I say that Ilyas has said rightly, to achieve any value-added product, it's very important to have productivity. Productivity comes with some with cost, and the initial cost is for a packer who is always at a working at a perfect competition where there is no margin. It's not an easy decision for a packer to immediately move or switch to a value-added product, completely a new product, without bearing a big cost. So that's what the proposal which Ilyas advised with regard to the support which is expected. It was really it was a pragmatic approach. We need to understand that we cannot invest. Packers cannot, if they want to expand, they cannot invest immediately a huge money, and that too with a bank loan. So the fourth question was, what is the biggest change you observed in the seafood business? He was like, this is a global business, and China became the biggest seafood importing country. Therefore, we must understand China. He actually focused on China. He said that we cannot negate that, because China is one of the biggest importing country. But what we're doing, we are mostly shipping, block to China. They are reprocessing it and shipping to USA and other countries. So that was my question. That the other question was, what is the change you see in China market? Do you see potential of value-added product to China from India? He said yes, but China needs totally different quality than US market. Because China quality, even I have faced some of the Chinese customers, and I have found definitely their expect and perception is completely different from some of the markets existing in the USA. In fact, their color, the cutting, the freshness, it all differ, and the way they want to be shipped. So China's requirement, if we understand better, then we have a very big value-added market, untapped there, which we can achieve it, and then it can give a more sustenance to the existing industry. Which country can be considered as a threat for Indian shrimp? Though we know that our second competitor is Indonesia in USA, but he says Ecuador, Peru, Mexico, South American countries, because the reason recently they are actually, the farming is increasing, and at the moment they find a difficulty to move their product in other countries, like recently what has happened with China. They start dumping their product to USA. Luckily, they are not in peeling at the moment. Hence, it has not been a big hit to our ship industry, but definitely they have hit very badly to block USA HLSO block market, and that's the reason the entire HLSO block market is in deep stress. It is very difficult to operate on the buyer's prices because of cheap supply. Why HLSO block demand so low and low value-added demand and value-added demand is more? See, block HLSO is mostly for restaurant business. And this year, coronavirus hurt so bad and at the same time, all American South countries supplying much cheaper than Indian. So this was the reason that when the restaurants are closed, they find difficult to move HLSO block. And if they want to have certain inventory, there was much more shrimps available, much cheaper at Ecuador, much lesser transit time. They can ship faster. So that was the reason that there was a big stress to HLSO and low demand. However, value-added product goes to retail business, hence the demand is sustaining. Now, I asked about the strength and weakness of Indian shrimp industry. The strength definitely is good farming, he suggested, because he often comes to India also and goes through. India is producing definitely a sustainable aquaculture farming. And his weakness was like lack of planning. Sometime new factory open and they just start and they just open and fail. It means there was no much homework done. What kind of product, which market. So that was his concern, that they don't understand product and customer. I think Indian packer should spend on R&D. So impact of COVID-19, USA shrimp business, huge. And he worried it is a big economic recession will happen. So as we see this valuated product, if you see the bearish white shrimp index, this is the total type of shrimps. We see a decline over here in the month of July and all as the price is going declining. But interestingly, if you see the value-added index, it is steady to firm. There is no decline over here. So this is what this is what it suggests that how fast we have to move to consumer pack, because otherwise it will be very difficult to sustain with the system of reprocessor or. Now, as Ilyasir has also said in the beginning, any factory, the typical Indian model business is like, there's a product B, which is at the stage of growth and maturity. And this product supports the product A, which is at the introduction stage. And this product makes no profit. It is just, you can say, status product, or it can be, you can say, it's a potential future product. So if it is a potential future product, then definitely in due course, if everything goes well, that becomes a product A in after 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, and this comes to the stage of growth and maturity. And if you see product C is in nothing, but it is the product which you have done a lot of, means if you are a processor for many years, maybe you have done for a long time, but now it has come to the stage of saturation and decline. And if maybe at the course of time, it will become obsolete. And there are many factories who does not produce a single block in India itself. And you see the product B will be a new product, which again, which a packer would like to test in the market. So this is how, product life cycle also goes on for a packer. So this is what I had to say. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Parvez Ahmed Khan, for a very detailed presentation on the Indian export scenario. Thank you very much. So now, sir, we can go for some relevant questions which our participants has raised. So I would request my colleague, Mr. Sanjay Mukherjee. Sanjay, if you could kindly read out the questions, some of the select questions for our panelists.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
So the first question is for the Honorable MPEDA Chairman. Few entrepreneurs would like to know that when will the new scheme for the new projects will resume? Sir, you are mute.
Sir, you are mute.
Okay. Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Very much.
Okay. I was just typing in the chat box.
Yes.
Then, yeah. See, this whatever existing scheme is over by 31st March.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing will be maybe not in this financial year, most likely in 21-22.
Okay. And is there any incentive scheme for the MSME units for value-added fish products?
This scheme is open to anybody. It is not only for MSME, but Mostly
Okay.
MSME sector is getting all the benefits.
Right. Okay. So my next question is to our panelists. If anybody can detail, like, what would be the implementation process for value-added fish processing plant? Like maybe in a crux, in a small manner, if you can share the insight that what would be the implementation process, how they are, like, what, like how they can go ahead, what to do next, like that, like the process can be shared.
Hi, this is a nice question. So as we know, that implementation is very easy. So if we have already knows or have the software developed to cover each and every process. So the first thing is when they want to just contact us and we can take it offline. But the implementation can be done within a week as per their requirement, and because so specific customization, so all like uh, every level of the every process at the processing plant is actually covered. So we just need to understand what the unique processing need they have or customization needs for the reporting purpose. Other than that, there is just no implementation need. So just we can just activate their account in our software and they are ready to go, and it is take within week to activate, and for any customization it is 1 to 3 months.
Okay. And is there any process to minimize the contamination and maintain the quality of the products while doing the value-added seafood products?
So I cannot talk about contamination because this is specific to freezing process, but yes, for the raw material that we have all the process tracking for any raw material that is we're getting in the processing plant, right from the grading and everything, that can be tracked with this, so that you can have with the minimal amount of time uh, uh, you can clear the product, and it actually goes for the further processing, so that we can help. But to reduce the contamination, all that is something that is originated at the source level, and it is actually controlled at various level physically. So we can track on the data side, but the process side actual, it has to be controlled at every process level or at the source level to avoid the contaminations.
Thank you. Mr. Sudhir Kumar, can you please share if there is any solar energy freezing or any cooling solutions for the industry?
Solar energy is not coming to seafood industry, but some amount of solar energy cooling is happening in basically in some cold storages, plus temperature cold storages. But solar energy, basically you need a lot of area, roof area, and now it is in the R&D stage. But anyhow, you need to have a backup of the power supply, because it's a cold storage. You can't be dependent only on solar energy. But to an extent, you can use solar energy for maybe operating your cold storage fans, or maybe some process units that can be used by solar energy. But still, it is not come in a big way into, because we need -40, the horsepower required is very high. So for a seafood plant, so it will take some more time to develop that solar energy.
Okay. Mr. Ilyas Seth, sir, can you please share your ideas, how to compete in terms of value addition with Vietnam and China? Like, what would be your opinion about it? What kind of products we should develop and how to go about it? Mr. Ilyas Seth, sir? Sir, you have to unmute yourself, please. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Sir,
Mr.
please
Ilyas
unmute.
Seth,
We
you need to
cannot hear.
unmute, please.
So if we have to really compete, or rather move in the manner that Vietnam has moved or China has moved, as I told you, we have to specialize on value addition. Value addition is not something which can be done along with the other products. If you really have to move on value addition, for example, if you go to the factories in Vietnam and all that, you will find that their factories are entirely oriented towards value addition, many of the plants. There's very little of bulk packaging from there. You will find that 3,000 workers are there in the factory working on only one product. whether it is fish, whether it is shrimp or whatever. And all the equipment is oriented towards value addition. So, and the skill of that labor, because they have been doing this day in and day out, is totally, they move so fast. Their productivity, I think, their productivity on, particularly as our friend was mentioning about a peeled product and these kind of things, if you go and watch the factories in Vietnam, their speed is much faster than the speed of our workers. So our workers, particularly for the value addition segment, there needs to be a lot of training. There needs to be a lot of skill development. And then if the mind is there, if you focus on that value addition, to get into the markets, which Vietnam is, it's not difficult. That's not the difficult exercise. The exercise is in what we do in the factories here. Because many of our exporters are supplying to those markets. Our exporters are giving to the retail chains, to the supermarket chains, branded in the best packing material and all that. So that part of it is okay. But here, what we really lack is that when if the industry is segmented, as I mentioned in my thing, and then there is specialization, I think value addition will move much faster and it will be for the benefit of the industry. And I don't think if we really focus on that, if we do that kind of specialization, I think we will overtake Vietnam within 1 or 2 years or 3 years at best. It's not real. But also what is important is, what I referred to was the FTAs, free trade agreements Vietnam has worked out with Europe and these other countries. If they are going to have a 0% duty worked out for the value-added product and other products they are supplying to Europe, and we are still having a 6% or 4% duty, I think we'll lose the game. So our government also has to be very active on this. Okay, so those kind of supports also will really help the value-added products to be developed. So there are, as I mentioned, there are 2 or 3 key factors which need to be keyed in. The government has to do it, the trade has to do it. Both together have to sit down and work this out. It will not happen just like that. It has to be a very, very focused approach that has to be done. Yeah.
Right, sir. And one more question to you. Sir, what would be the top 3 products based on the consumer preferences in terms of value-added seafood products?
Sorry,
this can.
Could you repeat that? Yeah.
Yes, sir. If you can identify like maybe the top products as per the consumer preferences, like based on the need of the market, so that it can help them to, if they're planning, they can go ahead and take it more in a generic way.
As you would have seen from the slides our friend presented, on the Khan presented in his presentation, you would have seen that we are already significantly there in the peeled and the cooked market.
Right.
You would have seen that particularly our shrimps in US, he laid out those charts. You will find that we are there in the cooked segment, and that is only increasing. We are there in the peeled segment. But of course, what is very important which he mentioned, but also very critical, we have to get into the breaded segment. Now, the breading lines that we have in India, or the focus on the breaded product is very less. And this is something which is very good value addition, and there is a big market in US for that. I think there is great opportunity in the breaded product, for which you may have to import some of the ingredients till they are made very well in India itself, particularly the bread that is there. There is breaded crumbs that are required for this. And that is one significant market. And then you would have seen from the list of the value-added products, some of the surimi products which we are making, that is the blended products that we are making. And that is a big value adder. And what Govt Marine is doing is something very, very, it's a fantastic job that they're doing, Govt Marine. They are doing about 800 crores of export, and all that is value add. Similarly, if you find the accelerated freeze-dried product that is being done, which actually India has taken a lead over others, has been doing that for many years. Now, these kind of products are top value addition. There's no doubt about it. So we have to look to that, specialize in that, and move in those areas fast. Breaded line is going to be a big thing, not only for shrimps, for fish fillets, and so many other types of species, other species also. So breading is something which we have to really focus on, along with the cooking. Cooking also, we can increase our share significantly on the cook line. So, so I think it has to be, a lot of focus has to be on these things, and we will move on. Some of our factories, let me tell you one thing, we have value-added factories, a lot of investments have been made. Some of our factories match the best in the world. If not, they are the best. Okay. Now, what I say is, with this kind of infrastructure that we are already having, and that can be further added upon, if there is a focus, if there is a specialization, I think there will definitely be a turnaround in India. And it's very important. When I said about the support manufacturer, if you have the segmentation, the support manufacturer has to be given an export status. Otherwise, why will you do it? So these areas where the exporters have to move and the areas where the government has to support, both these have to go together very strongly. If they go together strongly, definitely our value-added, increasing our share of value-added products, it can significantly improve. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we are, nearing to nearly a 3-hour session right now, and thank you for sharing, like your valuable time. Now, I would request Ms. Madhupanna Bhaumik to kindly deliver the vote of thanks. And also, we have with us Dr. G.S. Samiran, the Director of Fisheries Department. Sir, if you would like to add anything. Dr. G.S. Samiran.
He's not visible.
No, he's there. Maybe he has, muted. He's not in unmute. Anyway, sir, I think you can close the session because they have been spending such long time with us.
Yes.
It's nearly 6 o'clock. Yeah.
Thank you, Sanjay. So on behalf of Indian Chamber of Commerce, we thank all our eminent panelists today. Our special thanks to MPEDA, and the presence of the chairman is really very, very added value to our program. And we are really thankful to All India Seafood Exporters Association for their immense help. We are very much thankful to Frick India, Cracksen, and also SA Exports for their support. We are very, very thankful to the officers from MPEDA and the members of the Seafood Exporters Association and Tamil Nadu government, Maharashtra government, and other state government for their support and for their presence. We thank all our delegates who have participated and also be a part of our today's interactions for last 3 hours. So with these words, I thank you everybody present here today on behalf of ICC. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. And we will share the reports of today's deliberations with all of you. And also we will share with our delegates. Thank you, sir.
I think, Shuman, you can end the meeting, please.